Hello and welcome to the Kanawha Valley Hustlers. This is Joe Justice. I'm here with Nick. Nick, tell me, buddy, what's your hustle?
My hustle is economic development, especially when it comes to apprenticeships and tourism. And what we do with me and my job is we help businesses establish apprenticeships in any industry, whether they be union, non-union, service industry, manufacturing, anything you can think of, we throw the rock at it.
Now,
and I also do tourism, so I help the tourism industry in the state of West Virginia find funds and help them get their employees trained to better serve our guests when they come to visit the great state of West Virginia.
Now, the apprenticeship thing is pretty interesting because there's a lot of employers today complain about not having skilled workers and stuff like that. So, are you finding that it's a necessity to get some kind of training for into these skilled trades?
Well, actually, with apprenticeships, it's the only way to get skills up. I mean, we've all been to college. We all understand that, and been done the 2-year, 4-year, and master's degree, which is great. But when it actually comes to hands-on work, and skilled labor, apprenticeships is pretty much the best alternative to the old school ways of, well, get on the job and you can figure it out. With apprenticeships, you get classroom training, on-the-job training, and you get to be shadowed and mentored by an advanced, skilled person that works at a company.
Now, do you know how long has the state government been focusing on building up these trade skills and apprenticeships?
Well, that's a loaded question because apprenticeships have been around for thousands of years. We just didn't think of them as apprenticeships.
Sure.
For a perfect example, Paul Revere was an apprentice. Ben Franklin was an apprentice. And so on throughout history. So really, with a focus now,
it's getting to be a little bit more kind of focused, though, right? A little bit more kind of narrowed down and systemized.
A little bit more zeroed in because the apprenticeship model has been around, as I said, for hundreds of years. Europe has taught us that it is pretty much the best way to do so. Because if you look at we all hear about how great German engineering is. They're pretty much the forefathers of apprenticeships. So they're able to grab kids at 15, teach them a skill, and when by the time they're age of an adult, they already have 4 or 5 years experience working in their field.
Maybe we need to let's take a little bit of a step back because that might be where some of the confusion is. Because I'll tell you a story. If you've ever read the original book Pinocchio was told you either have to go to school or learn a trade, mm-hmm. right? So that seems like that was kind of the way of thinking back then. You either went to school to learn like an accountant, a lawyer, something like that, or you learned a trade like blacksmithing or carpenter or something like that. Is that it?
Yeah, something along those lines, yeah.
And things have kind of gotten all kind of blurred together into just school now.
Right, and also with the last 4 or 5 years, for a lot of people, school is unaffordable. There's no way that they can afford it. They graduate at 21, 22 years old, already $150,000 in debt, and they have a lot of my friends who did go to school for 4 years and master's degree. They're going to be able to pay their students' loans off when they're 55 and 60, ready to retire.
Right. So I mean, the dynamics really changed, and maybe so. We've kind of recognized there's some good things in the old ways, right? And you were going to say something happened in 2022?
Well, in 2022, a lot of people realize that it's great that you can make a spreadsheet, that you can read a spreadsheet, and you got all your schooling, but can you turn a wrench?
Yeah.
Do you know how to problem solve? Do you know how to, if something breaks, do you know how to fix it? Most of the time the answer is no.
Right. Yeah. That's definitely a skills gap in our society, and you hear that from people like Mike Rowe, like nationwide, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So that's great. So and to wrap up here, tell me a little bit about the tourism and how apprenticeships relate to that.
Well, with tourism, how the apprenticeships relate to it is there are actually over 5,000 apprenticeships in the country right now that are registered, and that number is growing as is because apprenticeships aren't. A lot of people think that apprenticeships are just A, B, C, and D steps, but it's actually moldable and buildable to fit any industry and any job. But with apprenticeships right now, we're seeing a big big interest right now in hospitality, resort management, restaurant management apprenticeships, to where an individual can come out of a trade school such as a Carver or a Ben Franklin at 16, 17 years old and go into an apprenticeship in tourism. And within 2 years, they're running their own lodging or running their own resort, making $70,000 a year, right? Before they're 22, while some of their high school classmates are still attending college, not making any money and going hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
Wow, that's amazing. That's very cool. So as we're kind of wrapping up here, could you tell people if they're interested about learning more in becoming an apprentice or getting apprenticeship set up for their company, how would they get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me is to go ahead and visit our website at the West Virginia Economic Development Office, and the Contact Us page, where you will be able to find myself, my contact information, and my colleagues Jeff Huffman, Dave Rogers, and Dave Lavender. Any one of us can help you with finding funding and support you in establishing your apprenticeships.
Awesome. Nick, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening today. And I want to remind you, as Joe Justice, the Kanawha Valley Hustler, hustle hard, hustle smart, and hustle with a smile.